Speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer so rough. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me know what set me a fickle flee. Me have to take away me say. Me have to take away me say. Me have to hide like a thief in the night. Me have to get out aside. Me have to take away myself. I have to take away myself. I have to utilize I weeds. Surely I cleave your eyes. I said, yeah, I find you very hard to resist. With this relationship I'm gonna desist. But how can I face you when all I wanna do is just taste you? I know you think I play me, but soon you're gonna see the light of day. Just relax, don't move an inch. I'll be gone in a pinch. May I feel take away myself. May I feel take away myself. May I feel
Greetings, greetings, kings and queens. Welcome to another Real Stuff podcast. This is Franco. Today we have a special guest, none other than Miss D.B. Young, and she will be joining us by Zoom this morning. So, stick and stay. You know what I'm going to say? If you're having your tea this morning or your coffee, great. If you want to refill, go ahead and go refill, because I have to get Flavius on the line. So until, keep it locked. Don't go nowhere. I'll be right back.
Gone through the door. Take away ourselves.
This is your very own sports, music, and lifestyle podcast with Flavius and Franco. Welcome. Hi, this is Pam Hall, and I'm inviting you to hang out with Flavius and Franco on the Real Stuff podcast. They're such great company.
I'm trying to connect the dots and fill in the gaps, but the questions in my head won't stop. Was it developed in a lab, or is it an act of God? The religious folks claimed it's prophetic. The conspiracy theorist and the doubtful Thomases says it's not a pandemic, a plan them planet to make the whole planet panic. They are tirelessly working around the clock to pick the padlocks off Pandora's box, boxing within the framework of a corrupt system. So many boxes, don't know what to believe in. The only thing making sense is who have the patent determines who will be the physicians and who will be the patient. Who will be the patient? Trick or treating, this is like nothing we have ever seen. Since COVID-19, we are all dressed in the same costume. Every day is Halloween. Every day is Halloween. Wash your hands, keep your distance, wear a mask, mask your fears. Quarantine, quarantine. Pay keen attention. Look beyond what your eyes are fixed on. Straight through the illusions. The Matrix is not a documentary. It's a science fiction with a sick plan to pull our hopes and dreams down like a quicksand. A quicksand. It's dangerous. The virus has turned the whole world into a circus. A circus. When money talks, no one pays attention to the grammar. Open the gates. Give the clowns the mic. They will direct the drama. The poets are sleeping, having nightmares about revoluting. The leaders are on a roller coaster ride, while the Joker sits in the corner, laughing. Playing fool to catch the wise. Playing fool to catch the wise. Trick or treating. This is like nothing we have ever seen since COVID-19. We are all dressed in the same costume. Every day is Halloween. Every day is Halloween. Wash your hands, keep your distance, wear a mask, mask your fears. Quarantine, quarantine, quarantine. You don't know what they're injecting, so don't volunteer to be a victim. Boost your immune system. Practice proper hygiene. Healthy eating and living is the best vaccine. The best vaccine. Your health is your responsibility. Get fresh food from the farmers. Turn your kitchen into a pharmacy. So while we quarantine, let's take a trip within. Self-reflect, redirect your energy. It's a new beginning. Feed your mind. Read something. Meditate. Create. Breathe. Start becoming better human beings. Better human beings.
Yes, yes, indeed.
You know,
that was the music, or the dub poetry, as I should say, of Miss Cherry Natural. And you hear some inspiring words there as well. Take care of yourself. Make sure you do that, because she said every day is just an Halloween. Yes, because we know the face mask and thing. But I have this gentleman here by the name of Ras Tona I. And I'm going to bring in Ras because Ras is saying something else too as well. Ras wants us to save mankind. And while we're at that, we're getting Flavius on the line. Remember, our special guest this morning is none other than DB Young. She's going to be here to tell us a whole lot of stuff.
Divine, better keep ya on your mind. Loving one another till the end of time. Lord, ya loving it is so divine. Better keep ya on your mind. In an attempt to save mankind. See Jah have the rod of correction. We cramp and paralyze Satan. We cannot be silent, have to take some action. Action, action. Yes, we have to tell every nation to spread more love and creation. You know we have to do it for our own protection. We need more love, not hate, around us every day. So we have to go down on our knees and pray. Got to be strong as we trot and go along. Keep it moving in a positive direction. Hey, hey, Jah loving it is so divine. Better keep Jah on your mind.
Well, this one is a bombshell.
Loving one another till the end of time. Lord, Jah loving it is so divine. Better keep Jah on your mind. In an attempt to save mankind.
Yes, yes, indeed. The music of Rastonai, Save Mankind. Flavius, we got Flavius with us this morning, all the way sweet, sweet Jamaica.
Yeah, good morning, Franco, morning, listeners.
Yes,
morning,
yes,
viewers. Thank you for joining us again as we close off the week. What's happening on your side?
My side, chilly as usual, because you know we're still in the winter and thing. But
yeah,
other than that, we have sun as always, sun shine. The weather is cool, make you want to move your dancing feet, as the man say.
Okay.
And we can't get rid of the virus yet. So the numbers going up, so the death toll going up as well. So.
Yeah, same here. Our numbers are much smaller than yours, but they're still going up, and the deaths are still going up.
True.
Yeah.
Today I feel musically, so I want you to do your did you know quick and make we play some music before we bring in Miss DB this morning.
Yeah, man, no problem.
All right. So. Where we have your did you know coming from today?
Yeah, this morning we're going to look at a few more of the territories. We're going to look at Bermuda, Saba, and St. Bart's. So we're going to speak about those three. They have no river on those islands at all.
Wow. No river.
No river. Nothing running. I mean, it's hard for me and probably you to understand that. See, you know, river is such a important part of our development, our life, especially when you're young. In Jamaica and other Caribbean islands too that have rivers. And of course, one of the saddest thing about that for me is that if there's no river, then there's no waterfall, you know?
Yes, sir.
A waterfall to me, boy, that's the zenith. Beauty, you know, beauty that you can't describe. That's what waterfalls are for me, you know? And we have so many in Jamaica. Oh, everywhere you turn, you have waterfalls. I love that. But these people have been going on for a long, long time without the rivers. You know, they do other things. They have other things. You know, so they learn to live without it. Well, they don't not live without it because if you're born there or whatever, then you are not used to rivers. So if like someone like me go there now and to migrate there now, I might find it a bit strange. I probably want to go by the river and catch some crayfish or something, you know. But they don't have that in their thing. So take it away, please.
Did you know? This morning we'll continue with the countries of the Caribbean with no rivers running through them. Today we will look at Bermuda, Saba, and St. Bart's. Bermuda. Bermuda is a British overseas territory in the North Atlantic Ocean. It is southeast of Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, and south of Cape Sable Island, Nova Scotia, and northeast of Cuba, and due north of the British Virgin Islands. Though it is typically referred to as a singular, Bermuda consists of 181 islands that I did not know. The largest of these islands is known as Main Island. The capital city of Bermuda is Hamilton. Bermuda is internally self-governed with its own constitution and cabinet of ministers selected from the elected members of the lower house of parliament, which enacts local laws. As the national government, the government of the United Kingdom is ultimately responsible for ensuring good governance within British overseas territories and retains responsibility for defense and foreign relations. As of July 2018, it has a population of 71,176, making it the most populous of the British overseas territories. Bermuda's largest industries are offshore insurance, reinsurance, and tourism. Bermuda has one of the world's highest GDP per capita for most of the 20th century. Bermuda's climate is usually described as subtropical, primarily due to the chilly but generally mild winter temperatures. Unlike other areas designated as subtropical, summers are also quite mild, with temperatures not rising in most years above 30 degrees during the hottest months of July and August. Its climate also exhibits oceanic features similar to other oceanic islands and the western coasts of continents in the northern hemisphere. Mean winds direction is from the west and carries warm, moist air from the ocean, ensuring relatively high humidity and stabilizing temperatures. Now we move on to Saba. Saba is a Caribbean island which is the smallest special municipality, officially public body of the Netherlands. It consists largely of the potentially active volcano Mount Scenery, which at 887 meters, that's over 2,900 feet, is the highest point of the entire kingdom of the Netherlands. The island lies in the northern Leeward Islands portion of the West Indies, southeast of the Virgin Islands. Together with Bonaire and St. Eustatius, it forms the BS Islands. Saba has a land area of 13 square kilometers, that is 5 square miles. The population was 1,900 as of January 2019, with a population density of 148 inhabitants per square kilometers. It is the smallest terrestrial permanent population in the Americas. Its towns and major settlements are the Bottom, the Capital, and Windward Side, Zion Hill, and St. John's. Let's move to St. Bart's. St. Bart's, officially the French collective territory of St. Bartholomew, is an overseas collectivity of France in the Caribbean, often abbreviated to St. Bart's in French, St. Bart's or St. Bart's, different spelling in English. The island lies about 35 kilometers southeast of Caribbean island St. Martin and northeast of Dutch islands of Saba, St. Eustatius, and the independent country of St. Kitts Nevis. St. Bart's was for many years a French commune forming part of Guadeloupe, which is an overseas region and department of France. In 2003, the island voted in favor of secession from Guadeloupe in order to form a separate overseas collectivity of France. The collectivity is one of 4 territories among the Leeward Islands in the northeastern Caribbean that comprises the French West Indies, along with St. Martin, Guadeloupe, and Martinique. St. Barth is a volcanic island fully enriched by shallow reefs, has an area of 25 square kilometers and a population of 10,000. Its capital is Gustavia, which also contains the main harbour. It is the only Caribbean island that was a Swedish colony for any significant length of time before the end of the Napoleonic War. Waterloo came under Swedish rule for a year before the Treaty of Paris. It remained so for nearly a century before it returned to French rule after a referendum. Symbolism from the Swedish national arms, the three crowns still appears in the island's coat of arms. Language, cuisine, and culture, however, are distinctly French. The island is a popular tourist destination during the winter holiday season, gearing towards the high-end luxury tourism market. So that is Did You Know for today.
Give yourself a treat, a few days or a week, and you will see just what I mean. Just take my advice, so everyone is nice. You feel like royalty, my friend.
Did You Know is brought to you courtesy of Slowly Jamaica, uniquely Caribbean. So in case you didn't know, now you know.
Well, this one is a bombshell.
You were the man in my life. I would like to take you to my home to be with me forever. I really love you, baby. Want you forever. Really love you, baby. Really want you, baby. I wish that you were the man in my life. I would like to take you to my home to be with me forever. I really love you, baby. Really love you, baby. Want you forever. Really love you, baby. Really want you, baby. Love I will give you is so powerful, so special. Under your skin it will flow through your vein. My love's insane. This love I give, I just can't stop. I just can't stop. It's in your face, even when you turn your back. And just like a magnifying glass, the heat that I transmit will melt your heart. Oh, I wish that you were the man in my life. I would like to take you to my home to be with me forever. Really love you, baby. Want you forever and ever. Really want you, baby. Really want you, baby. Whoa, whoa. Ooh, forever and ever. Yeah, yeah. I know you're wondering why my love is so strong. It's 'cause I see something in you pushing me on. The day you try to chase my love away is when you know Want you forever. Really want you, baby. Really want you, baby. Love I will give you is so powerful, special. Under your skin it will flow through your veins. My love's insane. This love I give, I just can't stop. I just can't stop. It's in your face, even when you turn your back. Hey, it's just like a magnifying glass. Hey, the heat that I transmit will melt your heart. Hey, I wish that you were the man in my life. I would like to take you home to be with me forever, yeah.
Yes. Whoa, they will try to stop your every move. Them go in them church and them pray for you. They grudge you for the car you drive, the kind of clothes that you buy. They wanna see your back against the wall. No more your name, now go call. They wanna see you locked up in a room, but Jah not sleep, so them works to do. So I see them from afar, and I know who they are. Yeah, they're coming near and far. Bad-minded people, they wanna see you fall. They wanna see you fall. Never see smoke without fire. Who that a come now the one bag of wire. Be careful of your family, your friends and your neighbors. They are the one lately I discover. So I see them from afar, and I know who they are. Yes, they're coming near and far. Bad-minded people, they wanna see you fall.
Yes, indeed. The music of Cool and Brown, Bad-Minded People. Earlier you heard from Miss Pam Hall with Want You Forever. So that's how we're doing it musically for you this morning. We're getting ready to link up with our guest this morning. And we just want to let you know that next week we're going to have cook and curry on a Thursday, and the Poetry Corner will now move to Friday. So on a Friday, you're going to get exclusively 1 hour of Poetry Corner. And it's going to be mixed up. So don't think it's just dead poet you're getting. We have some interesting people coming, right, Flavius?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And some big names too.
All top-notch poets, yeah, man.
Exactly. People all the way from Africa.
And we're going to be hearing about their journey, you know, and just reading poems.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting.
Quite a bit about themselves too, yeah.
So make sure you tune in the month of February. You know, February is also Black History Month. And we have a segment we're preparing for you. So we're not going to tell you what it is. But it's history, some solid history. Just like this morning, old Flavius dropped it on me about rivers in Bermuda. Bermuda have no rivers, you say, right?
Nope.
None whatsoever. So it made me wonder how them get water, how much, you know, what some water supply is like.
I think they buy water, and I think some of them use desalination with the seawater. Have a plant that does that, and some of them will buy water. People will come and sell them water.
Oh, man.
A big exercise, I can tell you.
I'm telling you, man. So I learned something this morning, so I hope you too learned something as well from our Did You Know. And as I said, Did You Know is brought to you courtesy of Slowly Jamaica. It's a planning event company. So if you have events that you want to plan in the Caribbean, check out Slowly Jamaica, uniquely Caribbean. Needless I say no more. So we're getting ready to link up with Miss DB Young. And we're going to, you know, talk about trauma and the way out, you know, she's going to tell us about it. She has her way of, you know, explaining it to us, okay? So in the meantime, sit and stay. Don't go nowhere.
And you will see just what I mean. Just take my advice, so everyone is nice. You feel like royalty, my friend. Pulsating, vibrating, reggae, reggae, reggae. Very sky, rock, steady, mental. A quadrillion, a coming. You can fill your belly with a coconut jelly, mango, papa, cane, and guinea. There's ackee and a saltfish and a roast yam and banana. Curried goat and a managed water. The Sunday special if you like a revival. Catholic, Baptist or Pentecostal. The house of Jah is there, have no fear. Walk right ahead and get your share. I'm walking on sand. I'm holding your hand. Feel like a tourist in my own homeland. In my own homeland. Feel like a tourist in my own homeland. A homeland, my own homeland. Feel like a tourist in my own homeland. My own homeland.
Suffering from lyrical drought. Deodorant. This song can watch this song. Hey, so give it a beat. Come for clean up the corner. Skank on your feet, ready for purge out the yard. Lord God, beat. Come for clean up the corner. Skank on your feet, ready for purge out the yard. Culture safer and Lord. We set the highest standard. Yard.
Give me the beat, the man himself, Tsunami MIC. We're getting ready to bring in our guest this morning, none other than Miss DB Young. So I'm just going to switch her over on our Zoom connection and make sure that she's there, line up. I see she getting ready. She getting ready. Okay, here we go. Morning.
Morning, evening.
In your neck of the woods, it's evening. Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Debbie. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Okay, my name is Franco, and your name is?
The B Young Anitafrika.
The B. Just want to make sure I have the right pronunciation.
Yeah.
So, how you doing?
Wow, that is a question, isn't it? I am giving thanks for being alive and for having my health and the health of my family and the health of my community. I'm giving thanks in the midst of a very complicated moment in our time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for those, today we're having a chat session. It's not an interview, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. We're just going to chit chat because we're going to touch on some subject matter as well, so that we know trauma is affecting the Black community, and you know something about it that we don't know about. So we're going to jump right into it. So in your own words, before we go into the trauma, tell the people, the viewers, who DB is.
Hello, viewers, listeners, community members, villagers, comrades, colleagues, friends, everybody. First of all, it's very wonderful to be here on the Real Stuff podcast. I want to just thank you, Franco, and the entire team for inviting me. I'm honored to be here with you. And I am a Jamaican born and raised dub poet. First and foremost, that's how I identify, because my mother, Anita Stewart, was one of the pioneers of the form, and she raised me and teach me everything women know. And of course, I come from a community of storytellers in Jamaica, out of Jamaica School of Drama. So I have to big up Jamaica School of Drama, big up Blacka Ellis and Tomlin and Tommy and all the people who contributed to raising me, Cherry and Audrey. And I am raised by an entire global village. Dub poetry is the center of what I do. And then around dub poetry, I'm also a playwright and a director, a dramaturg, a teacher, and now I'm doing my PhD in London. So I imagine some would also call me a scholar. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So I know that I saw on your bio something mentioning it about Canada. You grew up in Canada as well?
So I left Jamaica when I was 15 and went to Toronto to join my parents. And then I spent many years in Toronto, then Montreal, and then started traveling. My work as an artist, as a poet, as a musician took me around the world. So took me to Cuba and South Africa and Ghana and all of Southern Africa, Malawi, Namibia. I've toured all of there, and America and England and India and all over the Caribbean and yeah.
I can imagine the looks of the immigration officer's face when they see a passport.
It's mad. It's mad. I can't tell you how many times as our people, we reinvent ourselves every time. So, the stare at the passport and back at your face and at the passport and back at your face, and I cannot tell you. And I'm there saying, yes, it is actually me. Yes, this is genetic, it's cultural, we are shapeshifters. But mostly positive experiences, truth be told.
Yeah.
And I think that's because of the Jamaican and Canadian status. It's like I somehow managed to luck out because all over the world, people love Jamaicans, and all over the world, people love Canadians. So when I travel and people see that I'm Jamaican Canadian, I actually get like double the amount of love.
Wow. Enough love, that
true.
man.
That is wonderful. Yes.
It's true. It's true.
Canada is Flavia's second country.
And true.
Yeah.
So you know.
I was in Toronto for a while,
Yeah,
he was in Toronto.
There's so many of us there. I mean, the impact that Jamaicans have had on the Canadian cultural landscape, language, music, theater. I mean, I studied theater in Jamaica and studied theater in Canada. I'm telling you that the Black theatrical aesthetics is so influenced by the Jamaican narrative. And it's not one narrative, right? It's multiple narratives. But we bring ourselves, wherever we go, we bring ourselves to that place. And that place inevitably changes. And that's what I've witnessed in all of my travels. On the continent, in Europe, in South America, the impact that we bring when we make that place our new home is absolutely unapologetic and unarguable. Can't even argue about it because it just did it.
Yeah, somebody, I don't remember who said it, but somebody was saying, I don't remember if it was Mandela who said it, that Jamaica is the eye to the world. Everybody is looking for Jamaica to do something.
It's incredible. And I think about what is it? What kind of spirit energy was transferred through our ancestors' journey, through us into this unnameable place of magic which resides in us. It's courage, it's tenacity, it's audacity, it's so many things, and then at the same time it's also unnameable that makes us who we are. I think about it, and sometimes I stay up late at night, I think about it, but mostly just giving thanks to have been raised in the working class communities of Grand Spen and Maxwell Avenue, because I understand that so much of who I am and how I approach the world is inspired by the fact that I come from Grand Spen and Maxwell.
Good neighborhood.
Yeah.
Good neighborhood. I'm just down the street.
One thing I find, like what you were saying about how Jamaica impact everywhere they go, is that the leadership in us. We always take charge, no matter where we go.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. The leadership, there is that leadership. What is that? That drive, that thread, that gene, whatever it is. Me just say ashe and thank you very much.
So what caused you to end up now in England?
Well, I'm a first time come true, So I've been touring in the UK for pretty much all of my career. One of the first times I came over was when we were doing The Kink in My Hair. You might remember this play, The Kink in My Hair by Trey Anthony. In any case, it did incredibly well in Canada. We were the first Canadian production to be at the Princess of Wales Theatre, which is like our version of Broadway in Toronto. And so that play, Trey, who is Jamaican, black British Jamaican, she then brought the play to Hackney Empire Theatre, which is another large-scale theatre in the UK. So that happened, and then I continued to return to the UK to work. I always got booked as a poet to come and perform. But this PhD move that happened a few years ago was I was running a theatre company in Toronto called the Water Theatre, teaching Black emerging artists predominantly, but some mid-career artists, teaching them theatre and supporting them in developing and sort of taking up space for themselves. And I come to the end of that. After 5 years, I wanted to do postgraduate studies because I wanted to look deeper into the use of some of the tenets of dub poetry as a methodology for other artists to understand the very thing that we are talking about, that strain of leadership, that drive, that audacity, that self-esteem that cuts across colonization, right? That cuts across all the ways in which we've been told that we're not good enough. That thing I wanted to look at in dub poetry. Could that be transferred into a methodology for other artists to study? I'm kind of nerdish too, if you don't notice already, right? So I wanted to do postgraduate studies, and so I came to London to do my MA in 2018 and did the MA. Was a year long, and after the MA I got a full scholarship to London South Bank University to do the PhD. And PhD without a scholarship, if you're not moneyed, is pretty much non-existent, right? So having gotten a scholarship, it was so incredible because with the scholarship came the open-ended space to make my research whatever I wanted it to be. And I wanted to look at trauma and recovery in our community. So how do we use poetry and performance to recover from trauma? And I'm thinking back to Jamaica, like think of Miss Lou, and think of how Miss Lou traveled around the entire country collecting old African proverbs and pithy sayings and then saying it back to us, and the way that those proverbs and pithy sayings and Jamaican talk, the way that those work on us spiritually. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a method, this is an approach, this is a framework, and if you put that within scholarship, we have old African philosophical groundations that are alive and well in Jamaica that we don't necessarily talk about on the ground in that way, because on the ground we talk about philosophy and spirit and leadership using a different language, right? Mm-hmm. So I wanted to look into that further. So quite literally the theme of the PhD, the thesis is, how do Black women use theatre and performance to recover from personal, interpersonal, and generational trauma? That's what I'm out here doing. And I'm literally just interviewing Black women from around the world, even though the PhD will focus more specifically on Canadian Black women and Caribbean descended Black women, because, you can't do a big old broad something because the PhD has confines. Yeah. But I'm using it as an opportunity to really have this open discussion with us about how we deal with colonial trauma. Like, for example, the fact say when we are grow up, we get beaten. We get beaten when we are grow up, and me and you will say, so we get beaten because we did bother, we never did a listen, and maybe the beating toughen we up and the beating strengthen we and all kind of something. But I can say to you right now, when me think about that beating there, me no remember toughen up and tough love and that kind of thing there. All me remember is pain and hurt. You see me? Yeah. And I think that is a difficult conversation for us to have in terms of gender, the women and the men. We don't want to talk about the things scare we, because we don't want that make we look like we are some kind of weak and feeble adult people. Weak and feeble, and we need to go see psychotherapists and rate.
We're soft.
We don't want to look like we're soft, but there is a real conversation where me and you need to have because that kind of colonial violence, you understand, that beating something that come from slavery one time, you know. That come from slavery, that come from slave master and overseer string we up and beat we in front of one another, you know. And that come from, you know. That come from European, bring them corporal punishment, foolishness, come dump away. And then for it to become cultural over time. So the PhD is really, I just want to talk with us. And the PhD is an avenue for me to do the research, to come to you and say, okay, me and you sit down and do an interview, like we are doing an interview right now, a chat session right now. Tell me, when you reflect on those periods, what comes up? And then how do you use art, whether it's you're making a podcast or you're making music or you're making poetry or you're writing plays, how do you use that? Maybe we're not a psychotherapist and it's in there.
No.
How do you use that to deal with the triggers that come up when you think about the traumas you've experienced? And then how do you stop yourself from repeating the same thing with your youth them? Because me have two youth, you know. And me I tell you, me not gonna lie to you upon the radio station and tell you, say, me not have to struggle with not repeating some of them sin there, you know. You see me? Me have to struggle with myself, you know. Because them some that come natural to me. Because that are the environment when we get raised in that. You see me?
Yes.
So I'm trying to have that conversation with us. It's a very tender and vulnerable conversation. And so we have to approach it with a degree of empathy and compassion and realize so we can't force people to go back in their memory there and something there. So I'm also learning how to approach the research from a place where I'm not contributing to re-traumatizing people. Yeah.
Wow. I hear you very well and clear. So looking at what you just mentioned to us a while ago now. So we as adults and growing our children, you would say then, for us to reprimand them, we don't have to beat them. We can do other stuff. Cause you talking now, you know. I basically go through some of what you just mentioned, you know. I get some heavy beating, you know. And I used to think back sometime and say, my mother don't love me. But it was a reason when I get older, I said, boy, maybe if me never get all them liquor, maybe me would gone over the side with them guys there, you know. Maybe me that be a bad man. But the liquor she give me and then she throw me in some after school program and church activities. So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, because we not go paint the thing with one brush, you know. We not go paint the thing and say like, you know, for me the conversation is multi-layered, right? So upon the one hand, we have to recognize say our parents are the people them who raised me. Cause me get raised by granny, auntie, mother, father, whole heap of people participate. You see me? Our people who raised, we have to remember, you know, where them go through when them I get raised. We have to think on that. Right? If me as a parent now, I see certain things that got me, I do certain things. Then me I think on how me get raised.
Yes.
You see me? And that how me get raised, that's my point of reference. And so how my mother get raised, that's a fair point of reference, and how fair mother and father get raised. Like my father get whole heap of beaten and them all take him out of school and tell him say him have to raise the other youth them because him was very dark skin and the other youth them did light skin. So we all deal with a colorism thing in the community, you know. That's so true. My father know like him not get access to certain things. So me know so the way how him deal with me influenced by the fact that him never really get to have a childhood. You see me? So when me I think about all of the things where me experience now, me have to put that into context and have some compassion for him. Right? Me have to put it into context and say, him never have certain access to certain things. It's not a matter of love and don't love. It's a matter of where we have access to and where we get an opportunity to develop and cultivate in ourselves. So when we look back now, me look back on now like one pain, like me get that treatment here and a wickedness that are them never loved me, or my God, them feel and rate it. Me have to look into it with a complex understanding. Remember say we are people, and people is both the product of nurture and nature. Some of the things we come in the life with, and some of the things we get shaped as we grow up. You see me? So the PhD, you know, it a try, because sometimes when you look out in a larger society and people talk about black people, you know, them paint black people with this really uncomplicated, harsh and racist brush. Very problematic. And then we talk about black man in a certain way, black woman in a certain way, and kind of paint with like the same way them sell the idea say black people are subhuman and we're aggressive, and when them a try convince white people for buying into slavery in the 16th, 17th, 18th century, and I convince them, say, yo, the Bible endorsed slavery because them people are not people. Right?
Sure.
And the same kind of mentality they're on right now. And even black people ourselves. You remember growing up, sometimes you'd hear we talk about one another, with auntie and with uncle talk about the black people them cross the street and now them are all nigger and all kind of something. So we really have to look into how we have been conditioned by white supremacy.
Sure.
We have to look into now, when me I talk about other black people, me have to understand say, the way even how me talk about them, I come through the lens of my social conditioning, which is a white supremacist social conditioning. When we talk about light skin and browning and who pretty and who ugly, them something they are white supremacist social conditioning. That's not a natural thing to black people.
Yeah.
That's not natural. It's not natural for me and you sit down and say, oh, that black ugly girl there. That's not natural. That's a some way you learn.
Yes.
That's some way you learn. You see what I say? So it's not natural for another human being take the thing will come out of them womb, or if it's a man, take the thing with them seed help for birth and take electric wire and beat them. That's natural.
Yeah.
That is what come out of social conditioning for centuries upon centuries upon centuries. And what me I say is, between me and you, we have to start have the conversation there that separate culture for say, oh, it's just a cultural thing for do them kind of something there. It's a cult, you know, it's that are just we raise, that are just, and to begin to gently take apart that fiber and look and say, no, what is cultural to black people is love.
Yes.
Black people are the most loving people on the planet, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, because we don't start wars.
No,
we don't start wars.
You want to look on love. Black people is love. Black people is love. Nobody can tell me no different. No business, how much violence, whatever. Black people is love. So now, how we get to this place of this place, whatever this place is, you have to then look back at colonization. You have to look back at a 400 years plus system where you take people out of them habitat and you reprogram them and try to reprogram them. And even though they try to reprogram them, you see it there because we've got that spirit, whatever that is. You see it there. We are here, beautiful, even though certain things get done to us. So me just want to have the conversation there.
Yeah, man, a good conversation for have, because when you said you want to talk about the trauma that black people go through and how you recover from that.
Yeah.
I stepped back and I said, my gosh, and she could use the theater and storytelling, for sure, how you can, how that really come about.
Yeah.
And the farm, or you go back in the centuries. The colonizers, how them really started, and then our ancestors follow the same pattern leading up to us now. Because you saying it now, I'm looking back and I hear some friends say, boy, them not beat them kids because when them go through them the one, them kids go through it. And sometimes other friends say, but boss, them youth are them different than we, them have more knowledge than we, and them tech wise and all of them things there. But really and truly, that's old, we call it generation of brutality coming down to us now, and then for pass it on to our children. Because I'm looking at my children and your children, how them think and how them react to things. They do it different from us. You can't tell them nothing about colors. You understand me?
Different, and them supposed to be different because them in a different time. Them in a different time, and that can be really difficult for we adjust to them. But remember, say every generation we're supposed to progress. The whole human race is based on the premise of progression.
That's true. That's
and
true.
that is based, So we know we have to look into it and say to ourselves now. The reason why I mention the beating thing is because I know say a whole heap we can identify with the beating thing, That's why I mention the beating thing. But we also to think about all the things that we say to like we young men, we young girls, like when them are raised in the house, about that breed, the ton gunman, workless. So the verbal violence in it too, the verbal violence, the physical violence, and if we now look from mother to child, father to child, auntie to child, cousin to child, even now when we get into the partnership thing, again the violence in the partnership thing, and me just want we look on the facts, say one, we survive, So when you survive is an opportunity now for really look on the choices them we are make. And like me start out the conversation, me I look on myself first. You see me? Like me I look on who me become when me in a relationship. You see me? Yeah. And how me treat the person in a relationship with me, and how the trauma them when me go through, me I'll bring that in a relationship, and I'll project that in a relationship because me no overstand the impact where the trauma have upon me. So you find now our relationship is very difficult amongst us in our community because everybody traumatized, and we now look on the thing. So now we all blame upon her for certain thing. I mean, that's a very superficial, may I address it in a very superficial way because really with the radio we can't get deep in it, but we just want the people them we are listen for just think about how we behave in relation to the black people them in our life. You see me?
I think you can talk deep because it's we call it YouTube channel, so certain nudity and vulgarities is able to use, not a broad scale like we do in a porn movie. But anyway, the same trauma come in the sense of even women being abused by men other than parents, beating and things like that too, because some females who grew up, and male too as well, who grew up on sexual brutality, and verbal brutality as well, and that traumatized them as well.
Things that go on in their family, there's a silence around it. Again, that's trauma because probably the auntie them and the uncle them also go through them sexual trauma. Yeah. So them no really want to harsh out and talk out because not because they're wicked, but because them probably go through it themselves.
And them don't want it repeat, and them don't want to go through it in their mind again all over, so them just keep a lid on it,
Yes, so it's a whole heap of silence, a go on, and again, me no there for do no blame game. Me want me there for we really just begin to think about all that we have lived through. So we can bring some compassion and some empathy to each other. You see me? That is my for me, this research is about how then can I use information to transform my own healing. So if me go write a play or me go write a poem or me go write a song, you understand me I write it with a certain amount of information. Me not go write the thing now for progress the trauma and talk about, so and so get rape, who for blame, and them should I never do this and then should I never do that, and picnic to get beaten, and basically progressing the foolishness. But if I'm writing theater or music or poetry or dub poetry, I may talk to all the artists them now too. We really think about where we are said to each other, considering what we already got through. Considering what we are got through right now, how much million people are dead from pandemic, and most of them are black people. Why? That's not an accident. That's not because black people have no pandemic gene. That is specifically socio-political, because of the wealth, the lack of equal distribution of wealth, where black people and indigenous people and people of color, they are the bottom. Certain people of color, they are the bottom of the economic ladder. So we are disproportionately affected by this pandemic. You see me? All of that wrap up in the trauma conversation. All of that. And we might, for the people that are listening, we might have think to know when we can do a big discussion that when we can do. When me I say we can do is me and you can think about how we treat the black people we in we life, where we claim, say we love, or we treat them, or we talk to them, or we give them love and energy. When we angry at them, what we do. When the little picnic, I do something where I not listen to you, and we take the electric card or the belt or the shoes or the whatever. Me want we think about whether or not we really in our heart believe that is a loving thing for do. When we are with partner in an argument in the house, and we feel say somebody wrong somebody, me want we really think about if our humanity in the center of humanity, if the best thing we can do is to pick up sitting and dash pan and cut up and whatever else we are do. You understand? Say I didn't see me grow up with in Jamaica. Me not shame about it. Me not shame for talk because life a life. True. But at this age, I'm thinking about, so what can I do differently in how I love the black people in my life, including my children, my mother, my brother? How do I love them? Me not have no partner right now, so me can't talk about partner, unfortunately.
So the recovering process start with us then?
Exactly. The conversation is not beyond us to have, because we are living life in we own private spaces right now, and I want us to think about those private spaces. Yeah.
Okay. There's a question here in the chat room for you, and the question is, ask her about the role social conditioning play in our present socio-cultural activities.
I mean, the social conditioning is such that it's multi-layered, because remember, upon the outside, if we go outside, right? There is a social conditioning that tell us as black people that somehow we are less than. That is a real thing. That is called institutional racism. Yeah. When you can't get work, when you can't get higher because of how you look, rated, that's a systemic injustice. But that is not the only social conditioning. We also have another layer of social conditioning where we start talking about it early on in the discussion. I feel like this Jamaicanness, that regardless of color and class and creed, there is a social conditioning that I grew up with in Jamaica that they tell me, say me good enough. I'm a come from working class people, as me saying, at Grantspan and Maxwell Avenue.
Yeah.
But me definitely raised being told, say, no matter if you're poor, dark skin like you look like a wake, you just come out of West Africa. It no matter what them I tell you about where you can and cannot achieve, you can achieve. Study, work hard, you can achieve. So there is that layer of social conditioning that me definitely get raised with, and so many of us as Jamaicans get raised with. We give it a self-esteem. Now we see what's happening in the world is there is another layer of social conditioning happening where Black people in allyship with other kind of people all over the world, motivated by the political rallies and demonstrations of Black Americans, I forget the Black American them credit. I forget the Black American them credit for the Black Lives Matter movement. Black Lives Matter is coming out of past liberation movements, yes, such as the civil rights movement and liberation movements on the continent and liberation movements around the world with other Black people, but we have to give credit where credit due. Because of that movement, there is a rebirth of a social conditioning that is saying enough is enough and we need to recognize, say, the impact of colonization is still happening now. So there are layers of social conditioning, right? There's another social conditioning that is saying violence against women, that often look upon, that often stop. We have to recognize patriarchy, right? So if we look around, there's a lot of messaging. Some of that messaging is very useful, and like anything, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Some of that messaging you have a question. What I'm saying to us as individual people, because me love to come back to what is actionable between me and you, because the big system them, me is not a political person. Me not have that kind of political power. Me can't, for example, run for office and then someday. But what I can do is I can have this conversation. So we may say, if we think of social conditioning and all the messaging what we are received from everywhere we are getting from, you as an individual human being, you have to consider what are your principles. You see me? If you have a principle where say violence is, especially violence, personal violence inside the home, like that is a no-go. Verbal violence, physical violence. Sometimes I find myself just upon the tip for call my son a name. You see me? And me have to keep on my mouth. Me have to keep on my mouth because me know say the minute me utter that in the universe that can't take back in a, no matter how much sorry me say, you know. No matter how much sorry me say.
That's true. That
can't take back in. That can't. So when me I said to me and you, as the social conditioning, the layers of social conditioning we are taking, we have to each sit down with ourselves and ask ourselves, what are our principles? Some people, when they look on them principles, them look through a religious lens. That's fine. If you are look through a Christian lens or a Buddhist lens or a Muslim lens, it no matter which lens you look through, are your prerogative. But what I'm saying is we have to look through a lens. What lens are you looking through to determine your behavior in the world? And because we are talking about trauma right now, how you cause harm. You see me? Social conditioning is a big piece. If you live in a world where tell you, say it's okay for violate your children and okay for violate your partner, okay to violate whoever in your personal surrounding, whether you cuss them out and tell them about them, wara, or you feel like say you can lift up your hand and actually use that for discipline a child or something. You have to ask yourself, what are my personal principles? Personal principles. What do I believe in? For those of us who get beaten when we are grow up and we feel so we have to discipline the picnic, meanwhile you ask yourself, when you raise your hand or you take that belt and that picnic a scream for bloody murder, that picnic in a so much physical pain, I feel like they want dead and them I get traumatized. Me want you ask yourself in that moment if that you come on earth for do.
True.
And that you come on earth for do. You discipline by harming another human being. Now, me not gonna tell you say me never beat my children yet. No, me not gonna tell you that. But when we learn, we have to do different.
Absolutely.
When we learn, when we have the information, then we have to do different. Otherwise, we not change and we not grow. And we there have to change and grow so that the next generation can do better than we do.
You have a method there that is called is it what?
Anitafrika Method.
Yeah. What is it all about?
Everything when me I talk to you about. Everything when me a psychologist translated, and not even translation because it comes out of dub poetry. So my mother, when she was going to Jamaica School of Drama, she wrote her thesis at School of Drama on dub poetry, and she come up with 4 elements of dub poetry. Cause my mama tell us she are one of the pioneers, so she in the massive and crew with Muta and the rest of them, right?
Okay.
So that them are the people that who raised me, right? Muta, if you are listening, I go and love you a long time. So she, you understand that she was looking at, dub was really young at that time, right? Dub come out in the like early 70s, right?
Yeah.
And kind of grew up in the mid to late 70s and bust out, one could say, in the 80s.
In the 80s, yeah.
I was born in 77. So me really grew up and upon everybody lap and, baby pan side and at School of Drama, run up and down. And so I was infatuated with dub because that's what I knew as a child. Those are the people who I watched on stage. And when I listened to them, they were always talking about things where me did I experience, like when we live in a Grand Span and light gone and water gone, and every time you hear the dub poet them, Oku Nura and Jean Binta Breeze and Linton, every time you hear them, I talk about things that concern me. You see me? So Mom wrote her thesis on dub, and then when me at 19, I find the thesis. And when I find the thesis, I was already beginning my own career in Canada, and I do well. I get the kink in my hair. I get a TV show called Lord of Mercy, and early in my career, I get these like just some gems of work. So I had the time and the space to really start thinking about, well, what is it that I want to offer? I find our thesis and me start think about how could dub poetry help artists in a North American context, right? So the 4 elements she identified was politics. So dub talk about the people, what go on with the people, how the resources are distributed. Music, dub is in the language of reggae originally and dub. And so it's grounded in the people. The performance, dub is highly performative. So in order to get the people's interest, you have to actually be charismatic on stage. You can't go on stage and then you read like you read Chaucer or Wordsworth, people Stony and Buddha, right? And in African storytelling traditions, the storyteller engages the community, right? So we have politics, music, performance, and language. Dub is spoken in the people's language, the nation language, so that the people can understand what I say. Right? So it directly challenged colonial English and this idea that if you not talk English, that means you're not intelligent. Like me and you there have quite a profound conversation and more sight in the Jamaican language. You see me? So dub proved that the language, the Jamaican nation language, which is West African languages meeting English, a mixture, can carry deep intellectual and profound ideas just like any other language, of course. But I wouldn't not be able to do that, right? So I took those 4 elements and then I added 5 more. So I added self-knowledge. I added urgency. I added sacredness, I added integrity, and I added experience. So if you think of those, they're really principles to live by. So we start with self-knowledge. Who am I? How am I? What is my purpose? Then we go to politics. Make sure we are talk about actually concern the people them we are talk to. We are talk to people about things when are concern them. Why them for listen to you? orality, the storytelling tradition, understand that all the answers are in storytelling. Because in Jamaica, growing up with storytelling coming out of the African storytelling tree, everything in the parable them and the pithy saying them, and if we listen deeply, we will find the answer them. Language, whatever language you talk, make sure say you talk so the people can understand you. For example, me and you talk, sometimes we talk in English, sometimes we speak in Jamaican, sometimes it's a mixture because we recognize that our audience
is a multi-language, yeah.
Right? So we now go have a conversation in just English, or use words where people now go understand, because that's not what they encounter every day.
Exactly.
It's not a matter of intelligence, it's a matter of what you encounter every day.
I love it. You know,
taught the people them language.
Yeah, you know, when we started out, you mentioned storytelling, and today is Friday, and that's what we usually, Flavius and I sit down and say, we want the podcast to be about growing up, or we grew up, and it must be in the form of storytelling. You understand? And it's going to be about the Caribbean people. So it's the history, it's the people, and the history of the Caribbean people, and we giving it in a storytelling format. And see, you just come.
Me must see this here,
And the other thing, Franco, is that the other thing is that the other thing is what we started out doing and wanted to do at all times is to have us speaking about us, ourselves.
Of course.
And writing our own history.
Me want to tell you say another thing where they love to do over in the western parts, is they love to pretend that they're having a conversation about us, but actually the whole conversation is about whiteness and racism, and actually about us. So it's very important, as you mentioned that point, that we actually bring the conversation about us. You notice every time we come back to what is going on inside of us.
Yes.
That Black people deserve to carve out a space where we can talk about our interiority. And we've always done that. And you've looked on traditions coming out of Jamaica, coming out of the continent. We have always carved out a space where we can look on our own internal process of being human. Yes.
Yeah, man. Oh, what an experience. Oh, what a feeling. Yes, man. I know you're supposed to wake up a lot of people this morning. If them get up feeling blue,
man.
them going to feel yellow now and green.
All being said, I don't know if she can, give us even one or two poems.
Oh, I was coming to that guy, and now let her off of the hook. She have to give it 2 poems, man. I think she not just come and just talk and then just leave. I mean, with the string of things that she have to give us something.
I have 2 poems. One in a our language and one in a English, because me really like the idea of the fact as Black people we move fluidly. That's why Black people, Jamaica can live everywhere and Black people can live everywhere. We move fluidly across language and culture. Anything that will get our message across. So I have 2 poems here in that way. And I just also want to say that I find it very ironic that if we look globally at the treatment of Black people on a global scale, I just find it ironic. I feel I need to just point out and just remind us that this humanity that dares to treat us the way it does sometimes, this humanity is here because our ancestors decided to immigrate out of the continent and walk to other parts of the world. I just feel me need to point that out, because them love to tell Black people say them can't enter certain country because of them border laws. Except when them say that, them seem to forget, say, if black people never immigrated in the first place, them wouldn't exist.
True.
So I just want to remind us of that. For black people out there who feel like we're stateless, like we not belong nowhere, you see me? Like we don't have no land. Actually, we belong in the whole entire world. Because we ancestors them leave Africa and go into the world to ensure that the world get populated. So I just want to put that up there.
Love that.
So,
Do your thing.
The first poem I gotta do, this is one of my favorite poems. I love it subtle. All right. The two of them are two of my favorite poems I gotta give you now. John 9 tell them, say this is a warning and me no care where you come from is a new dawning. Tell the people of the world, tell the people of the world, the revolution's rising. Look to the east and the west, it upon the horizon. Me say, tell your friend, tell your mother, tell your cousin, we're a new generation, we're not afraid of nothing, we want with liberation. Emancipation, we want with liberation. Emancipation, my friend, me say, we go to school 5 days of the week, relearning the fiction of them story written from the position of a them victory, but a pure light, I'ma tell, so won't you step in my class? I'm gonna tell you about the past, a new lesson for today. To save our people of tomorrow, a time for we decolonize, woman and man, so we open up our eyes, a bloodbath legacy we are legitimize when we keep our eyes closed and act surprised. There's a little fella up on the street, him a pack a little neat Uzi, he's a ghetto youth with few options, him say gang a him family. Watch him go out in a blaze of glory. You remember when we used to play in the dirt and the boy them used to lift up with skirt, dandy shandy, hide and seek, spin the buckle, get a kiss on the cheek and flirt. Now you see the youths them a come here off his plate, open up a fire, everyone bite that dirt. Him have a big old gun, him want to have fun, him don't know that him time soon come. 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 Me say, John 9 tell them, say this is a warning and we no care where you come from, it's a new dawning. Tell the people of the world, people of the world, revolution's rising. Look to the east and the west, it upon the horizon. Me say, tell your friend, tell your mother, tell your cousin, we're a new generation, we're not afraid of nothing, we want with liberation. Emancipation, we want with liberation. Emancipation. My friend, me say, we go to school 5 days of the week, relearning the fiction of them story written from the position of us them victory. But a pure lie, a pure lie, a pure lie, a pure lie, them a tell. So won't you step in my class? I'm gonna tell you about the past, a new lesson for today, to save our people of tomorrow, a time for we decapitalize. Woman and a man, better open up your eyes. It's a bloodbath legacy we are legitimize when we keep our eyes closed and act surprised. Cause little Mary Sue says she want blue eyes. Ask her why and she started to cry. My cousin Eileen, my cousin Eileen, she get the ice cream because fair skin is a browning and she pretty and me ugly. You remember when we used to play Dolly House? You are the mother, me are the mother. Said the shade of whiskey, no, it never matter. Now Now Mary Sue is 13. She's old enough to buy skin lightening cream. I'm bitten, I don't know that skin lightener. Says she bleach out her skin so she can be whiter. Bleach out her skin so she can be lighter. Bleach out her skin, she thinks it will make her better. In the future, skin cancer. In the future, skin cancer. In the future, skin cancer. My friend message and I tell them that this is a warning and me not care where you come from. It's a new dawning. Tell the people of the world revolution's rising. Look to the east and the west and up on the horizon. Yeah. Tell your friend, tell your mother, tell your cousin. We're a new generation. We're afraid of nothing. We want liberation from capitalist prison. Don't call me West Indian. Don't call me West Indian. Don't call me West Indian. Because I am Jamaican. I am an African. I am Jamaican. I am an African. I am Jamaican. I am an African.
Well, this one is a bombshell.
Yes, man, that's a bombshell.
Oh yeah.
Love it. And I love to see in performance live.
Yes.
Yeah. Or you react on stage and thing like that, you know.
Must be dynamic. Talking alone.
It's a lot of fun. I love dub poetry. My absolute favorite.
You mentioned
the second one, I want it different from the first one. Different vibe, different energy completely. So that we can have a little, shake it up a little bit.
All right, do your thing.
It's a Campion College vice.
Do your thing.
Yeah, they go from the New Day all age vice to the Campion College vice. Who amongst us carries the sage secrets of loving? Who amongst us carries the sage secrets of loving? Where are our elders, our children, the ones who walk with the old-time knowledge of a healing love, an unapologetic love, an uncompromising love, an honest love? If you tell me who, I will sit studently by the rivers of their feet, washing away all the unknowings that I have come to know, relearning a language of honesty, integrity, and compassion. These languages were carved on our heart's tongue by ancient ones who somehow I have forgotten. It's like somewhere between a dream and a timelessness across the ocean waters. Our sons and daughters, our mothers and fathers, our auntie, uncle, sister, and brother, they stretched love's fabric thick and thin. So now here we are treading, trying to heal these scars of wars, these scars of broken fiber that stick up inside our like maca. Who amongst us carries the sage secrets of loving? Where are our elders? Where are our children? The ones who walk with the old-time knowledge of a healing love, an unapologetic love, an uncompromising love, our honest love. If you tell me who, I will sit studently by the rivers of their feet, washing away all this unknowing that I have come to know, relearning a language of honesty and integrity and compassion. These languages were carved on my heart's tongue by ancient ones who somehow, sometimes, somewhere, I, me, you, we all forgotten? Have we? Have we forgotten? Forgive me. Forgive me for not having loved you relentlessly. In all cases, fear has been my worst enemy. Were fear not here, I would kiss you and I would feed you food from my soul, and I would stop you from aching, hold you closely and share a smile, and I would wait with you by the roadside for a while. If I could, I would. If I could, I would give name to all of these unnamed spaces of accountability and responsibility that flows like rivers between us, sometimes silent but always deep. If I could, I would. If I could, I would see and name and claim the full moon energy shining down on you and me so brilliantly, and you shining like I shine, and we all shine because we all do shine, and we all can shine, and there is room for all of us, our blackness, to shine radiantly. If I could, I would mirror you through my own eyes, and you would mirror me through yours if I could. So forgive me. Forgive me for not having loved you relentlessly. In all cases, fear has been my worst enemy, and I cannot promise to love you fearlessly, not when there is fear all around and inside and outside and above and below and beside me, not when fear is here. But I can love you courageously. In spite of all my fears, I can love you with honesty. I can love you with integrity. Love is a healing love, is a healing love, is a healing love, rebranching itself like the roots of an ancient enchanted tree in a magical forest whose roots reach beyond those wounds, these wounds, our collective wounds of yesterday, of today, wanting to reach into tomorrow. These wounds no more like branches. Our arms are outstretched to the promise of you and I and we, the community. Yes, we, the people. Yes, we, the planet. Yes, we, the universe. Yes, we, the omniverse. We, the multiverse. Yes, we are everything and we are nothing. Yes, we are everything. You and I are everything and we are nothing. Everything and nothing. Everything and nothing. So, what will you do with your time? Between the first breath and the last breath, what will you do with your time here? What will you do with your life? What will you do? What will you do? Love. 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 One love.
Another boom shot.
Well, this one is a bombshell.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah.
Another bombshell. Another bombshell. My gosh, DB.
Baby,
Yes.
question.
Yes.
When you spoke to Courtney, did he tell you about our Porsche corner?
You never hear about the poetry corner. What's that?
Well, tell our flavors. Tell our flavors. I thought Courtney, when you spoke with Courtney, Courtney told you that we also deal with poetry. You know, and every Thursday,
Yeah.
we have poetry. No, you never remember. I don't lie, I tell you, never remember. You never remember. So
as you said, every Thursday, I remember actually.
Because you were supposed to be here on a Thursday, but because of studies and other commitments.
Exactly. No, I remember. Yeah. Well, no, yes, you have 2 poems then for your poetry card.
No, we're gonna bring you back for poetry card.
Can I get to know?
It is now on a Friday.
It is now on a Friday exclusively because
1 hour on a Friday.
Okay.
We're putting in some serious work into it. We're putting in some serious work into it, so we decided to move it from Thursdays to Friday.
I would be honored to join you at Poetry Corner.
Based on your current, time constraints, could you pick a Friday in March or April and let us know?
Yeah, we're gonna make you pick it. You make you pick your day. Friday.
I lecture. The issue, I lecture on Fridays. I lecture at LSBU on Fridays. That was the issue actually. It's all coming back to me. So Fridays are my lecture days. The reason why I could do it today is because the lecture that was in the evening get moved.
Okay.
So we will figure it out some way, even if we do a pre-record.
No problem. Yeah, no problem. We have to figure that one out.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
And with
but
that,
we're really happy today we're out.
Yeah, man. And with that, we come to an end. But before I leave, there's so many people in the chat room I say so much good things about you. You understand me? One man from Canada, I'm just like, you pay 100, hundreds across the black, and a young lady said this a boom shot, up. It's very much,
Lovely.
Next man I say excellent piece, The poem is priceless. So
wow.
Enough comments,
In fact, yesterday was our last Thursday on the Poetry Corner.
Okay.
And yesterday we had Cherry Natural yesterday.
You had Cherry yesterday?
Yeah, Cherry Natural was here yesterday.
I heard you mention her name, yes.
You mentioned her name in the conversation, so.
Yes, of course, you have to mention Cherry name, of course.
But remember that this is live now, but it is posted on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I think I mentioned it to you. I mentioned it to you.
That means I can send it to my folks.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
I will send as soon as it processes. I send you the link.
And we will also send you yesterday for Cherry's link too.
Yes, send it to me. Oh, that would be so wonderful. What? Cherry. Long time in a talk with Cherry. Long time.
So yeah, burn up the place.
Yeah.
I'm just really quite honored to have been able to join you because, I'm out here in London and may I tell you, there's not a whole heap of opportunity for actually getting at a thing, but to speak about it from my cultural lens and for speak the language. And me do a whole heap of interview, whole heap of talking, tired for talk, but it's so much of that talking is in this other brain, and it's really important for health, for like mental health, that we can come home to ourselves. So just to be in a space like this where we can talk the talk with you, and the one I have to edit myself and all kind of translation I go on in my head is really just refreshing and a moment of breathing. Isn't it? Come spend so much time just to translate the idea, move from nation language to English and English to academic speak, and Lord have mercy, sometimes it's a head trip. So I'm so grateful.
That's why it's a chat session, you know.
Yes.
That's right. You know, we just want you to chat. We don't want you to come and, you know, be too pretty or too dainty. You just chat.
I feel may I leave with a much more grounded understanding of the thesis. Come and get me talk it
out. That's good. That is good. That is good.
Yes. So you have to talk it out for seat in the open ear so you can really understand what the thing is about. So thank you.
Yeah, man, and thank you too for taking time out of your busy schedule and, you know, coming here this morning and everybody's here. So just stay safe. All right?
Yeah, you too, both of you, stay safe. Community out in the world listening, they're sending us so much love. Listen, stay safe and make sure you just love one another. See me? Love one another.
True.
Yes.
Absolutely true. Think that. All right then, my dear. Take care of yourself, all right?
Take care.
Okay.
One love.
One love.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Clean up the corner. Skank on your feet, ready for purge up the yard. Lord God, feet come to clean up the corner. Skank on your feet, ready for purge up the yard. Culture saver and Lord, we set the highest standard. Yeah. You're getting a treat on it, so sweet, you know what for yanks and who want it. Different crew I go to, I go meet. Specializing wise up, rise up. Open all your eyes, not gon' keep them boogie yanker in the street. Some mother, father, daughter, son, no better pack up and come. Play culture lyrics, we are fling down. Let your foot them on the floor, we won't refuse to give you more. Long time we don't hear this, I'm sure. Comfy and chain, no mind with double form kind. Culture, I want gruesome, fine. This time, so give it a beat. Come to clean up the corner. Skank on your feet, ready for purge of the yard. Lord, God of the God, beat. Come to clean up the corner. Skank on your feet, ready for purge of the yard. Culture saver and Lord, we set the highest standard. You know, hear them sit down, that's all of business. They got out to the dogs, cats and rats and hogs. Mickey Mouse is dirty stuff, come out them a chat no.
Yes, indeed. The music you hear there in the background is none other than the man himself, Tsunami MIC. And we just have some, some, what I would have call it, some riveting conversation from DB Young this morning. And I know you watching enjoy it as well, because I'm speechless, but I still talking. When I say speechless, my mind is still process everything as to what we just witnessed. So just imagine this young lady live in concert.
Sure.
So enough big ups to her. Enough big ups to all of you in the chat room this morning. So many of you can't even call out everybody's name, but to the known self, we love you and we thank you. Just like, share, and invite more friends to come along. Right? And just tell them to subscribe. We need the subscription as well. So like it and share it. And, just join us Monday when we do it all over again. Flavius, go ahead and let me bring up some names that is coming here for next week.
Well, we are ending another week, but we are also ending the first month of 2021. When we come back Monday, we will be in February. So take care, stay safe. Remember, R&D is where we run things. Please.
Yeah, just remember, you're right. We'll be in February. And Monday we have Teddy coming on Monday to do his thing. We have Mama G. We have Owen Black Ellis. Then we have Oku Unora coming also. We have Ivy Flores. We have Joel Jawara Ellis. Wise Words, Cynthia Cook. We have so many people coming in the month of February, so we're going to be posting them. We're going to send out a big list so you can choose the day you want to see your special person, or all of them, a matter of fact. So in the meantime, do us a big favor, right? Tell your friends, tell a friend to tell a friend that the Real Stuff podcast is here. And bring them as much as you can bring. Because we know that this thing, it's going to spread like wildfire. So, with that, take care of yourself again. Always remember, prayer changes things regardless what religion you belong to. Must pray. Continue to pray. We have Queen Lubafo and Tafina to take us out this morning as usual. My bad. Let's do it all over again.
You lead us song full of. You belong far away away. Ajugwala lebo buseru. Leader mua, leader song full of. Leader mua, leader song full of.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
All you gotta do is just speak. One word is enough, and I'm no longer sorrow. I forget what I was trying to say. I no longer do what I was gonna do, but you're no good for me. That's why me know what set me if it could flee. Me I fi take away me say. Me I fi take away me say. Me I fi hide like a thief in the night. Me I fi get out the side. Me I fi take away me say. I fi take away me say. I fi utilize I weeds. Shorty I cleave her eyes. I said, yeah, I find you very hard to resist. With this relationship I'm gonna desist. But how can I face you when all I wanna do is just taste you? I know you think I play me, but soon you're gonna see the light of day. Just relax, don't move an inch. I'll be gone in a pinch. May I feel take away myself. May I feel take away myself. May I feel I like a thief in the night. May I forget out the sight.
Well, unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
Take away myself. I have to utilize I read. Show the eye a clean pair of heels. I say, been there, done that, don't need it again, yeah. I'm not the one to guess who won't play it.
Unfortunately, this is it. Till next time. Bless.
Sayonara.